Hello everyone. Hope you all are doing well and hope your loved ones are safe too. Well, thank you for joining today's session, which is your journey towards agile success, an integrated and strategic approach to test management. Throughout this session, we will talk about the challenges I have had, the approach I took to resolve them, and how SynapseRT tool helped me to mitigate my problems, as well as how it has helped in process improvement. At the end, we will open the floor for questions where I will try to address your queries to the best of my knowledge. So, once again, thank you for joining. Now, before we begin, let me introduce myself. I am Afsana Atar. I started my journey in IT industry in India. Right after graduating, I got an opportunity to work for Google as a client and then worked for IBM. So after working for 5 years, I decided to go abroad for further studies. After receiving dual degree from Boston University, I restarted my journey as a software test engineer. It's been altogether 12 years now, and currently I'm working with a trading firm headquartered in Philadelphia. Since I have been part of Scrum methodologies from the very first year of my IT career, I decided to become a certified Scrum Master. Following that, I did few more certifications such as Advanced Scrum Master, Certified Scrum Professional, and Certified Product Owner. And now, I'm at the verge of becoming a Certified Scrum Coach and a trainer. I'm also a speaker and have been a part of the DevCon 2019, one of the largest conferences held in Brazil, and in Sao Paulo with Ministry of Testing. I was also part of StarWest 2019. It was an amazing experience to be part of it and happy to be here again in 2020. I used to go through various testing blogs, articles, magazines to learn more and update my knowledge. And that's when I decided to be part of this knowledge sharing community. And that's how it all started when I began writing articles about software testing, practices, processes, AI, and so on. I have published several articles in online journals and I have authored a book, Hands-on Test Management with Jira, where I have shared my experience with managing test activities within Jira with the help of third-party plugins such as SynapseRT, Zephyr, and Test Management for Jira. Along with that, there are 2 video courses that have been released this year, which is Jira 8 Recipes and Mastering JMeter 5, through which IT professionals can advance their skills. Alright, that's all about me. Now let's get started with the session and learn about my experience with SynapseRT. Let me take you on a journey where we began with addressing our testing needs, analyzing them by assessing and evaluating the current situation, and landed up with a successfully implemented testing strategies, a well-defined process not only within our project but have been successful with developing it across multiple projects using a very powerful tool, SynapseRT. So here, primarily trying to understand the way people, processes, and technology worked in the organization to drive testing efforts. So how did we go about it? Well, there were few questions that we needed answered. The maturity level of the team in terms of understanding and implementing test management processes. So basically, we try to analyze the current skill level of the resources. It is expected within a team to have all new joinees or experienced colleagues or mixed of both. Now, analyzing their skill set and experience level regarding the test management processes gives us a rough idea regarding the level of efforts that one needs to put in terms of training and managing these resources and cost associated with it. After that, we check the way or processes that the teams were following for test management. Now here, we mainly focused on how successful we are when it comes to managing test activities and strategies, clocking efforts, reporting, etc. Now, what are the loopholes or drawbacks of the current processes? Or how challenging or easy it is for the team? Or how much efforts we need to put on to train new joinees to follow them or to be able to perform the task successfully. Once we were able to gather enough information from within our team, we started looking at various tools across the organization that we were using internally and that could be incorporated. Now, when it comes to licensing part or budget calculations, it's easy to search for something within the organization first. It also gives us leverage to learn from other teams within the company who has been successfully able to use it and implement the tool and technology and processes. So once we had all the information available regarding people, processes, and technologies, we delve into gap analysis to understand the areas of improvement and create a roadmap to achieve our goals. Now, some of the primary areas of improvement that we found were there was a lot of data fragmentation. Every team was managing their efforts in non-standardized way, either using some legacy tools or Excel spreadsheets or through email and so on. Now, after looking at the people, process, and technology, we got an idea about what we need to be improved. We needed a tool which will help us to establish a common platform and help to link development and testing work together. There was no common platform to store or manage test artifacts. There was a considerable communication gap between developers and testers. It was tricky to generate test execution reports. And since there was no standard way of documenting test cases, it was very difficult to train new members, and it also led to a longer ramp-up time. So once we had a clear idea about our testing needs, then we started exploring and evaluating different tools available in the market. Now, some of the factors that we considered while evaluating these tools were first to have a common platform to capture all data related to testing activities, which would improve visibility across all projects running in the organization. It also helps in improving collaboration within the team as well as across cross-functional team in the company. A tool should be easy to generate various types of reports so that those can be shared with the concerned people in the team, and it should be easy to organize and manage test artifacts so that we do not have to search for the evidences or test artifacts, especially during the audits. It should be easy to integrate with the current project tools so that everything can be interlinked and easy to trace back and forth as and when it's needed. There is always going to be a question about managing existing test cases and migrating them, and we wanted something which is easy to migrate, more efficient, and requires less man-hours. We were also looking for a tool where ramp-up time will be less and resources can be more productive within a short span of time, because at the end it comes to the cost, time, quality triangle, and less impact on the current project delivery. After we assessed and evaluated our needs, it was time for doing some market research and selecting the right tool to fit into our criteria. So after evaluating different tools in the marketplace, we decided to adopt SynapseRT. And the reason being, it helps in scaling test activities and creating and establishing a standardized process as per our project needs. It provided a common platform where collaboration with developers and the other team members became easy over managing long thread of emails separately. SynapseRT is easy to integrate with other automation or continuous integration tools such as Jenkins. It provided an option to run and capture test artifacts for automated test within the same platform. Migrating existing test cases were very easy. By tweaking them into the required format, one can easily import them into SynapseRT and maintain them. It is very effective when it comes to the reporting. Plus, it has natural integration with Jira. Hence, everything is stored, maintained at the same platform, easy to design, customize workflows, and share across the teams. All right. Now, those are some of the benefits of the SynapseRT. Now, let's take a look at some example use cases. So, like I said before, SynapseRT has a natural integration with Jira. So, if you look at this image here, we have a Jira software, and within that we have different plugins. So let's say we have Bamboo for build deployment, we have Bitbucket for code repository, then we have Crucible for code review, and we also have a Confluence which acts as a knowledge repository. Now if you add your SynapseRT here, it completes the picture and it gives you a overview what SynapseRT manages, which is requirement, test cases, and test plan. So that's how you can integrate your testing activities with the existing platform provided by Jira with the plugins, which is your deployment, your code review, and you also have your knowledge base. Along with that, you have your test cases, test plan, and requirement linked together. Now, let's talk about different components that SynapseRT provides us. So if you take a look at this image here, these are the different components which are highlighted in the red box, and those are requirements. So SynapseRT gives us an option to create our own requirements, manage them as per our project needs. After that, the second component is test suites, where we can organize our test cases within multiple test suites as per our project needs. Then the third option is to create a test plans. Now here we can create different test plans, include test cases, execute them as per our testing needs. And it gives you more flexibility when it comes to tracing back the defect to the requirement using the traceability. The last option is SynapseRT reports, and which is the very powerful option where you can create multiple reports supported by SynapseRT. Alright, now let's talk about how we can configure SynapseRT for our project. So for that, what we have to do is log in as Jira administrator, and once you go to the configuration under the add-on screen, you can find out the SynapseRT configuration details. So as you can see in this image, I have different issue types. For example, epic, story, requirement, and task. Now these are the 4 different issue types, let's say I'm using in my project. So in that case, I'll just add them so that SynapseRT, it will treat these issue types as requirements. After that, in defects, I have added another issue type as defect, and then you can select your project to which you want these changes to be reflected. And that's it. You have enabled SynapseRT for your project, and it's that easy. Alright, congratulations. Now you have enabled SynapseRT for your project. Now it's time to create a sample test case. Now as you can see on this screen, I have a issue type as a test case. And yes, you're right. I have created a Jira issue type, which is a test case using SynapseRT plugin. And I am creating that in my project, which is SynapseRT test project. Now I also have an option to describe a summary, which is a short description for my test case. And I also get different fields such as description. I can specify the priority, the label, and I can customize these fields using the configure fields option. Alright, after entering all the details in the test case issue type, and once you create them, you will see a test case issue type will look like this, where you will have a test case number, which is a Jira ticket number, Synapse 12, within the specified project. Then you have summary. You also have other details that we have provided, such as the type, the priority, the epic link or the label, and you also have a status. Now remember, you get an option to customize your workflow as per your project needs. Then it also has other details such as description, it has steps and expected results, and it also has an option where you can attach the testing artifacts that are needed as a precondition in order to perform execution. Now if you notice on the right hand side, it also has other details such as assignee, reporter, who is watching this issue, and so on. And it has similar features that any other Jira issue will have, and that's the biggest advantage. Alright, after creating test cases, the next step is to managing and organizing them as per our project needs, and that's when test suite component of SynapseRT comes into the picture. So if you notice in the image, I have different test suites arranged in the main test suite, which is mobile banking app test. Now here you get an option to create, clone, copy, delete, import test suites or test cases. Now after that, you also have an option to filter them by simply writing JQL. And if you want to organize them or reorganize them, then you can simply drag and drop from one test suite to another, and it's that easy. Alright, so once you have created and managed all your test cases under the test suites, now it's time to pull them together under the test plan. And for that, what you can do is you can create a test plan issue type, and in that you can click on add test suite, which will pull all the test cases from the test suite, or you can select individual test cases and add them as per your testing needs. And you can also link the requirement so that if you open the requirement, you can see the linked test plan and then you can see the test cases as well. Now if you notice, we also have the other options that we have seen in case of the test case, which is the priority. We also have an option to customize the status by customizing the workflow, and we have the priority for test cases as well. We can view the status. We can assign these test cases to different team members if we have multiple people working on the same project. And after you have decided the required test cases, then you can create the test cycle, and for that you can just add a cycle. You can specify the environment name, the build number, start date, end date, and once you create it, it will look like this. It will get added under the test cycle where you can see iOS device testing, that's the test cycle I have, Android device testing, that's another test cycle I have, and then the Windows device testing. Now once you create your test cycle, it will get created in the draft status, and you will have to manually activate it. Once you activate, you will see there is no activity because I haven't executed any test cases. And once you start executing them, you will see the status as per the test case status, which is passed, failed, or not executed, something like that. And that's all at the test plan level. Now let's say if we have a minor requirement or minor issue or defect fix and we do not have many test cases. In that case, what we can do is, if we have just one or two test cases, we can directly link those test cases to the requirement and we can create a ad hoc run. For example, here I have a test case which I executed 3 times, and that's why you will see the status as passed, failed, and passed. When it failed, I also link the defect, and that's how you can create the individual test execution in SynapseRT using ad hoc test run option. So once you start executing your test cases, you will see a screen something like this where you will see there are different statuses that you can update for a particular test case. Now remember, you have an option to update the test status at the test step level or at the test case level, meaning you have an option to update the test step status. Like here, if you notice, I have failed and then not tested. That means my very first step is failed, and that's how I updated the status here. And then I get an option to link existing defect, or I can create a brand new defect. And you also get an option to link the existing defects at the test case level or test step level. Then you can attach the test artifacts. You get flexibility to add the actual result status as well. And then if you have any comments or other details, you can add them in your test execution. Now once you add all the details, and if you go back to your test plan, you will see the test requirement coverage on the right hand side, and this will appear only if you have linked your requirement to the test plan. So let's quickly check the details which are displayed under the requirement coverage section here. So if you notice, we have a requirement with the ticket number, which is Synapse 6 with the name, And then we have a coverage which shows 100%. That means we have considered and added all the test cases which are needed to satisfy this particular requirement under the test plan. And then we have their status, which is in different colors. For example, here we have green. That means some of the test cases might have passed and then failed, and then some of them haven't been executed, and some of them are in progress or blocked. So you can see the status here. And if I would have had added only 3 test cases instead of 6, the plan coverage percentage would have shown me only 50%, because in that case I would have added only half of the test cases which are required to validate this particular requirement. So that's how this information is useful, and that's how you can see if you have added all the test cases which are needed in order to verify the requirement. So once you have begun the test execution and you want to track the progress of your test execution, in that case what you can do is you can go to the test plan component of SynapseRT, and then if you go to the unresolved plans, you can see the list of test plans which are still active and hasn't been closed. Now if you want to view the test plans which has been closed, then you can go to resolve plans. Now here, if you notice, if you expand the details, it shows you the details about the current test cycles and their status, as well as the defects. And here also you can see the defect distribution in the cycle. So that's what the detail you can see. You also have an option to filter them based on your requirement. So that's how you can view the test plan report while you're already in the middle of test execution phase. Now, if you go to the test execution summary report, which can be generated at the test case level, you can see that we have a list of projects, and then we have the requirements. Then it also shows the number of test cases which are linked to that particular requirement, the total execution details, and so on. Now, you also have an option to create a traceability report under the traceability option in the SynapseRT. So if you go there and if you add some of the details such as your test plan details and your requirement details, it will generate a traceability matrix for you where you can see the details about the defects. You can see the test cases which has been used in order to verify the particular requirement, and it will also show the test cycles. Alright, so that was all about manual test cases. Now let's say in your project if you have automated test cases. So in that case what you can do is you can use Jenkins, which is a continuous integration tool, and you can configure that tool with SynapseRT. Now for that what you can do is provide details such as URL, username, and the name and the password and so on. So once you provide all those details, you will see an option as automated under your test case, and once you start the test execution, you will see an option as a run, which is to run the automated test case. Now once you hit that button, it will execute a test case for you, and it will show the test execution status on the SynapseRT itself. So that's how SynapseRT has helped us to create standardized process and then implement it across the different projects within the organization. So that's all I have for you today. Let's open the floor for the question.